God, there's sometimes I just love it out here.
Here's a big May 26th happy birthday wish to the man you heard there at the top of the podcast, owner-operator Gary Schloo, Overdrive's Trucker of the Month for April, putting Schloo in the running for the 2024 Trucker of the Year Award. I'm Todd Dills, with this edition of the Overdrive Radio Podcast dropping to the feed May 24th and hitting the world-famous overdriveonline.com May 27th, Memorial Day. Right in there, Schloo will be celebrating a birthday, and I wanted to take the opportunity to expand on what we heard from Gary Schloo a couple weeks back about his long-haul trucking leased operation. The owner-operator has now been contracted to the company for upward of 30 years and hauling in a 2014 Peterbilt 386 he purchased new as a glider. With a reman Detroit Series 60, he's now overhauled once on the way toward another 1,000,000 miles. It's a 1999 built engine. Technically, Schloo might be ELD exempt in another operation, which I asked him about, given his connection to the long-haul trucking fleet.
I have to run an E-log. Yeah, these people had to do work in these, and I've never fought them on it. I've gotten used to it. There are times I don't care for it, but I've gotten used to it, and I've learned to live with it pretty well with what I'm doing.
As noted in the first part of this podcast, Gary Schloo is on a dedicated run between Wisconsin and his native Minnesota. He completes the round, loaded both ways, most often in a single day.
You know, the biggest thing about it is if you've got a 14-hour day, I'm lucky I have customers that load fast and unload fast. So I can make it work. The only times I get a little rushed is if I've got a 580-mile day and I've got to unload the truck twice and load it twice. And
Right.
I've got a lot of time to stand around then.
Not much time to stand around, indeed, yet Schloo's managed through his long career to truly build in work-life balance with his business, with plenty of time, nearly every night, in fact, spent at home in Austin, Minnesota.
Luckily, I have a customer that one of their best accounts is right in my hometown. And that's a customer that cuts pallet wood. And a lot of that pallet wood goes to build pallets for Hormel.
Also, with a huge operation right in town, as noted in the prior podcast.
Like I said, I got that good shop right down the road. I drop the truck off, they wash it, and they do whatever I need. This morning, they put a maxi brake on for me before I left. And the week before, they put springs in the front of this truck. So I'm very lucky to have that shop right down the road.
It's a well-oiled machine at this point, it sounds like, for you.
I'm very lucky.
I'd say there's more than luck to it, though, as you heard in the prior part of this two-part podcast highlighting Schloo's 50-year career in the business. He's built dependable systems for analyzing his performance in so many ways, taking one-truck business performance to a high level, certain. Today we'll hear more about his business and life partner and his wife, Terri Schloo, and how the pair met when Schloo was still in his first truck, a 1980 Peterbilt cabover, and owner-operator Schloo's considered advice to the next generation of truck owner-operators over the road. But first, just after the break, a bit of a treat from the Large Cars and Guitars truck show earlier this month in Tennessee and the semi-casual custom shop attached to Fitzgerald Peterbilt in Crossville, Tennessee. Interestingly, that's where owner-operator Schloo bought that 386 glider 10 years back now. This month, Semi-Casual showcased two custom Peterbilt 589s, the brand new model. I got a close look at them, and after this word from Overdrive Radio's sponsor, the fine folks at Howe's Products, we'll dive right into the work put into the rigs to show custom rig enthusiasts among you, well, just what can be done now that the Model 389 is in the history books. So keep tuned.
Loosen rust, seal electrical connections, lubricate sticky valves, and more, all with Howe's multi-purpose lubricator and penetrating oil. A century-old secret family formula, Howe's multi-purpose continues to outperform the competition. Lasting longer than any other product, Howe's multi lubricates without evaporation and is safe to use on almost any surface. Try it today and see the difference for yourself. Find Howe's multi-purpose at Amazon.com and retailers nationwide.
Howe's multi-purpose, I'm here to tell you is the real deal. I sprung a rusted old couple of license plate holding screws from one of our family cars recently with it. You can find more about it and Hal's line of winter and warm weather fuel treatments via HOWES, houseproducts.com. Now, let's hear from Semi-Casual's Brian Burke. Speaking from the cab of the custom orange 2024 Peterbilt 589 he and his shop's team built for purposes he's about to really expand on right now. Here we go.
The biggest thing is we wanted to build these trucks and bring something out at Mid-American at these truck shows so people could see the new 589 and the possibilities with them. It's a brand new model, so when it comes out, everybody's like, "Oh no, they changed the truck." People have reservations about what it could be. And I think with these two trucks, we kind of did two different styles out of them, and someone can see it and say, "Oh, you know what? I like that. It looks good." My name is Brian Burke. I'm with Semi-Casual and Fitzgerald Peterbilt, and we're hanging out at the Large Cars and Guitars Truck Show.
Detailing the rigs, he started with this observation about the orange 589's interior. Pretty well stock contrast to what the Semi-Casual team did to the other 589 in the pair with a black exterior.
This truck is
That
pretty stock.
Not, yeah.
This one's not for sure.
Yeah.
This one we just added chrome, so it's got chrome shifter plate, shifters, pedals, chrome handles and stuff. But otherwise, it's pretty. And these are all factory Peterbilt genuine accessories. That we did this one, so if a person wanted to see, like, hey, if I just want to order some stuff out of the Peterbilt book,
Right.
This is what you could do. As far as the exterior of the trucks, we did a lot. So particularly on this orange truck, we did a hidden def tank. We took the sleeper bags and the shocks and the panhard bar and hid everything under the sleeper. And so the back's like real clean looking. You don't see any of that stuff. We actually lowered the fuel tanks down an inch just to make the truck look a little bit lower. Painted those. We changed the boxes out where you under the doors, so they're a smaller box. The trucks from the factory come with a box that's about 6 inches longer. Okay. So we shortened those up and then put the air tanks on top of them like the traditional 389 would have. Something that they don't offer the factory. And then made a longer cowl panel. Again, it kind of made the truck look a little bit longer. Just painting everything to match. We painted the chassis with a base clear and a flush mount deck plate, did shift fenders on it, visors, cab sleeper panels, and a lot of that stuff. And when we built these trucks, all of these parts in these trucks are all one-off parts. These were the first ones made for a 589 as they came out before we could take them to Mid-America, which now we actually have them for sale. Drivetrain, yeah, they're very similar. They're 565 Cummins with 18-speed trans, 337 gears, full lockers in the rear. The orange truck is a 280-inch wheelbase, and the black and red truck is a 295-inch wheelbase.
Okay. Gotcha.
Actually, I take that back. The black truck is a 605 2050 torque.
Okay.
And this is a 565 1850.
Okay. I don't think we've talked about the black truck yet. It's got a unique look on the cab.
When we first got this truck, it was a stand-up cab, stand-up sleeper or ultra cab, and so the roof cap on the truck was substantially higher than it is now.
Yeah.
And we wanted to have a truck and present a truck for people to look at that mimicked more of the old style. For the longest time, I always wanted to build me and Tommy both wanted to build a flat top cab stand-up sleeper 389, which basically when this one came in, it was like, here's a perfect opportunity. We can do it. Let's do it with this truck. And it'll be the first one in the country that's done that way in a 589. And which once we got done with it, it really kind of gave the truck a hot rod look. And, obviously we changed the front suspension on it, got the truck lower to the ground. And then we've just been kind of painting stuff black and painting things red and trying to kind of have something that's kind of a hot rod.
The interior looks nice.
So we basically pulled the entire interior out. We pulled the dash out. We completely deconstructed the dash. All these panels come out. So all your wood grain pieces come off. Your silver pieces come off. You have to take the chrome out of these things. They're not exactly made to take apart. So we took them apart the way we wanted to and then painted everything.
Catch a good bit more detail in a video the Semi-Casual team posted around the time of Large Cars, detailing a lot of the work put in. I'll post a link to it in the show notes for the podcast and embed the video in the post that will house this one for May 27th at overdriveonline.com/overdrive-radio.
And where you had texture, where all the tan and gray stuff was textured. So we would sand that down, then do a layer of primer, sand that down, do another layer of primer, then paint it. And it makes it slick like the paint job is on the outside of the truck. And then we made some new insert panels with black and red stitching to kind of carry the theme. And essentially what we're doing is just trying to make the truck interior just all black and red with a little bit of chrome.
Right.
We want to have two trucks and be able to show people two different ways you can do a truck. Obviously, the orange truck has a lot of features and stuff that are pretty one-off, custom things. I say one-off. We actually sell those parts now. Yeah. But this one was, if you didn't want to change your boxes and you wanted to build the truck and keep it looking more close to how it comes from the factory in terms of the accessories, we just did stainless boxes that are the same size as the factory. Mm-hmm. We left the def tank exposed, painted the fuel tanks and whatnot, did cab sleeper panels and breather lights, and we changed the mirror brackets on it. But we even kept the rear chassis at this point in time is still the factory red paint. We didn't paint the chassis on that truck yet. So everything on the black truck is a lot of it is essentially like a bolt-on thing. So a person can take those parts and put them on a truck, and you don't have to do any wild modifications. The factory mirror brackets have a brace that goes down the center in between here, and then so your mirror is actually on another pivot this way. Yeah. So what we essentially did is this is just a one single hoop. Yeah. And we took the mirrors that you would get on a 389, and the mirror's a little bit smaller, a little cleaner look. And so we used 389 mirrors and wired them into the truck. Some people might say you're crazy for doing that. The factory mirrors on the 589s are really nice because they can, from inside, you can adjust them up and down, left and right. And when you've got like a 389 mirror like this, you've only got left and right. But the traditional guys, like they're used to that. It was like we wanted to kind of take some pieces. Our website, semi-casualshow.com. That's like our YouTube channel. Me and Tommy do a ton of videos on all the builds and document how to do things too. There's like how to install a visor and how to change headlights and just different things people can learn about trucks. And then just full videos on the builds we're doing. And so all of that and some of the parts that we make are on the website that people can go to.
Again, find them at semi-casualshow.com. And big thanks to Brian Burke for walking us through a few of the details on these trucks. Stay tuned for a video from us with many more views around and inside both rigs. It'll be at the custom rigs section of the website late this Memorial Day week upcoming. That's overdriveonline.com/custom-rigs.
Right now she works with the adult handicapped, and she's about ready to go down to part-time. She just went on Medicare the first of this month.
That's April Trucker of the Month, Gary Schloo again. They're talking about his wife, Terri, and her work outside of keeping Schloo Trucking's business books. When Gary and Terri Schloo met, Terri brought 3 teenage children to the relationship that Gary thinks of as his own, and how they met, well, something of a classic story. His owner-operator Schloo tells it.
It's the classic old restaurant thing. I used to work on my truck. I used to work on my cab over truck until sometimes 3 in the morning. Changing oil, washing it. I rented space from a shop back in those days. And in order to get things done, I would be out there in the middle of the night when no one else was in my way. And I'd work till 3 o'clock in the morning. And my wife now was working overnights at the restaurant. And that's where I met her about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning back in those days. And I knew her probably, I knew her a couple of years before. She was cleaning houses also besides, and she was cleaning my house and didn't know whose house she was cleaning. That was interesting until she started looking at some of the pictures on the wall and said, God, I know this guy. That's how we started talking, and she was divorced. We got together and talked after that. We've been together since 96. So it's a classic old trucker and the waitress, right?
Yes, indeed.
As most listeners are well aware, a big part of our Trucker of the Year competition, featuring owner-operator semi-finalist candidates throughout the year, is, we hope, lending useful perspective to all of you in the audience, ways to sharpen the operation, button up the business for long-term success. Owner-operator Schloo's answer to a question I've asked most of our Trucker of the Month candidates, namely what their advice to any new or prospective truck owner might be. Schloo's answer to that started along these lines.
there's a lot of different things to do in this business. You can hook onto a lot of different kind of trailers. If anybody's thinking about buying a truck, I guess you got to find a good company. It's really helped me. But I always have told people that I've run into, other young guys that have bought trucks, pretend like you're broke for the first 3 years. If you pretend like you're broke for the first 3 years, don't go leasing a new pickup truck or buying a new pickup truck, and just pretend like you're broke for the first few years and pay down your debt. Things will be a lot easier, and really take care of your truck. Don't let things go, to where you end up at the mercy of some outfit out there in the road. I'm lucky enough. I've never had a lot of work done on the road. I've been able to get it done at home. I guess to the young fellas, just buy good equipment, take care of your equipment, pretend like you're broke for the first few years, and build your cash up. And then put some money away, because there's going to be things that are going to happen to you. I had back surgery in 94. I had a brand new truck ordered. I had ruptured Achilles tendon in 97. I ended up with blood clots in my lung and then 8 days in the hospital. There's going to be things that are going to happen to you, and get some disability insurance. So I've always carried disability insurance to where something like that doesn't take you down. Well, I had disability insurance before I even became an owner-operator, but I increased it after I became an owner-operator. And I highly recommend that to people, at least enough to cover your at-home bills. If you're ahead on your truck, if you're ahead on your loan, which I always manage to stay ahead of the loan, you can always call the bank and say, I'm going to be off for 3 months. I know I'm $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 ahead of my loan. I've never had any trouble with the bank. In accidents too, accidents can take you down. It takes a long time to get a truck back on the road now. There's not that many body shops anymore to fix these trucks. Parts are hard to come by. So having an accident can take you out for a couple of months.
Some ways it all comes back to insurance. Building the nest egg for the down cycles, disability, and or, as it's sometimes called, income replacement insurance, and more. There's a chapter devoted to that and health insurance, in fact, in our comprehensive Partners in Business Guide to Trucking as an Owner-Operator, start to finish. The 2024 edition this year, sponsored by the huge Rush Truck Centers dealer network, you can access via overdriveonline.com/PIB. Simple download there, in addition to a bevy of business content you'll see highlighted there. The final chapter has to do with, what else? Retirement. With owner-operator Gary Schloo turning 75 May 26 here and still full-time trucking, I asked him what he'd done to prepare through the years for eventually hanging up the keys in good shape for retirement.
I'm financially well enough off to walk away if I want to, and have been financially well enough to walk away for the last 10 years, really. I wouldn't be doing this except I really love the customer I'm hauling for, and I like the people I'm working with. And I was going to retire at 66. It was 65 that I bought this truck. And a lot of people said, you're crazy. Well, that's what I put on the back of the bunk, semi-crazy. You ever remember that song by, I can't remember who sang that song.
That would be Junior Brown, Semi-Crazy, a duet with famed trucking songman Red Simpson. It was released in 1996.
What I did was I bought this truck, and I thought, well, I'll truck for 3 more years. I'll retire at 68. 68 came and went, and I thought I'll work till 70. 70 came and went, and I thought, well, I'll work till 72. 72 came and went, and here I still am. And I wasn't going to work this winter, but God, there's sometimes I just love it out here. There's sometimes I just love it. There are times that I hate it. But it's a love-hate relationship, and I guess I love it more than I hate it. I like getting that self-employment check. I like the challenge of keeping the truck going now. It's got just about 1 million on it. I'm really very fussy about my truck. I have a tendency to spend money probably even on the truck before it needs to have money spent on it. But I just like the challenge, and I don't know. I might retire at the end of the year, or I might come back next year. I really can't tell you for sure. I guess I'll leave that up to, man plans and God laughs.
Oh, indeed, Gary. Indeed. Here's wishing Schloo a happy birthday and luck with the judges later this year in the Trucker of the Year competition. You can put yourself or another deserving owner in the running for this year's award, sponsored by the fine folks at Bostrom Seating, who will deliver a new seat to the winner. You can enter up through September at overdriveonline.com/toptrucker. I'll post the link to that initial entry form in the show notes for the podcast. You can find that wherever you're listening. Overdrive Radio is on Spotify and SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts and YouTube, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, most any listening platform. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and you can find me and all of our episodes too via overdriveonline.com/overdrive-radio. Big thanks for listening. Overdrive Radio is a production of Overdrive, the voice of the American trucker. It's edited and produced by me, Todd Dills, with the acoustic guitar and other support of trucker-songwriter Long Haul Paul Marhofer. Our big theme is Legend of the Snake Man by Marhofer, featuring the guitar work of Travis, the Snake Man himself, Whammock, Terri Two Socks Richardson on bass, keys by Tishomingo Jim Whitehead, and on drums, Andrew Marshall. The podcast is backed up further by Overdrive's own social media coordinator, Jasmine Campbell, news editor Matt Cole, executive editor Alex Lockey, and video editors Lawson Rudisell and Andrew Glenn. Until next time, keep it pro out there.